Hello, dear ones. Children, today we will take you on an amazing journey with 10 fun and wonderful stories from the Bible. Here, you will find the beginning of creation, Noah's Ark, the Tower of Babel, Abraham's journey, his love and faith, Jehovah. Each story teaches us something special, like having courage, telling the truth, loving everyone, and always trusting in God. So get ready. It will be fun, you will learn something, and your heart will be filled with joy. Let's begin the journey of these wonderful stories from the Bible. In the beginning, there was nothing. There was no earth, no sky, no stars, no time. Everywhere there was only darkness. Then God said, "Let there be light," and light broke through the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness night. This was the first day. On the second day, the Lord made the sky. He called it heaven. On the third day, God raised the earth above the sea. The water, He called the water sea, and the dry land earth. Then He said, "Let there be trees, plants, fruits, and flowers," and the earth was filled with greenery. On the fourth day, God made the sun to light up the day and the moon and stars to mark the night. Now time began to move. Day-night seasons. On the fifth day, the sky and the sea were filled with life. Birds began to fly and fish began to swim. Then came the sixth day, and God created all kinds of animals, lions, cows, elephants, sheep, every living creature. But then God decided to do something special. He said, "Let us make man in our own image." And then God made a man from the dust. His name was Adam. Then God breathed the breath of life into his nostrils, and Adam became a living soul. God made a wonderful place for Adam, the Garden of Eden, where there were rivers, beautiful trees, plants, and peace. God said, "Take care of this garden, but do not eat the fruit of one tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." But Adam was alone. So God put Adam into a deep sleep and made a woman from one of his ribs. Her name was Eve. When Adam saw her, he said, "This is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." Now they were together. Adam and Eve lived with God, innocent, naked, and complete, in peace. God saw everything and said, "All of this is very good." And then came the seventh day. God rested, not because of fatigue, but to show us that rest and contentment are also necessary. This is where it begins, our story of the earth, of humanity, and of the God who created us with love. When God created man on the sixth day, He also made a beautiful and perfect garden. It was called the Garden of Eden, and everything there was filled with peace, overflowing with beauty, love, and joy. Adam and Eve lived in that very garden, the first humans. They lived among the animals, walked with God, and lacked nothing. God gave them only one command: "You may eat the fruit of every tree in the garden, but not from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The day you eat its fruit, you will surely die." Adam and Eve obeyed God's command. Sometime later, Lucifer, a fallen angel filled with pride and jealousy, arrived there. Lucifer, intoxicated by his own beauty and power. He believed that he had become equal to God. Because of that pride, God cast him and his fellow angels out of heaven. He decided to corrupt God's creation. With great cunning, he deceived a serpent and sent it into the garden. One day, when Eve was walking alone near that particular tree, the serpent said to her, "Did God really say that you cannot eat the fruit of this tree? Did God really say that you cannot eat the fruit of this tree?" Eve replied to the serpent, God has said that we must neither eat it nor touch it, or else we will die. From this, we can understand that in the beginning, humans must have been able to understand the language of animals. The serpent whispered, "You will not die. God knows that as soon as you eat this fruit, you will become like Him, knowing good and evil." When Eve looked at the fruit, it appeared beautiful to her. Driven by the desire for knowledge and power, Eve picked the fruit and ate it. Then she gave it to Adam as well, and he too disobeyed God and ate the fruit. As soon as they ate it, their innocence was lost. By disobeying, sin entered the world, and its effects were felt by all their descendants to come. They realized that they were naked, and for the first time felt shame. They began to hide from God. But God, who sees everything, came to them and said, "Did you eat the fruit from the tree I had forbidden you to eat from?" Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed everyone else. But God knew everything. Because they disobeyed His command, God gave consequences to all of them. God said to Eve, "Your childbirth will be painful, and your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." To Adam, He said, "You will have to work hard all your life, sweat for your bread, and in the end, you will return to the dust." And to the serpent, that is Lucifer, He said, "You are cursed, you will crawl on your belly. One day, the offspring of the woman will crush your head." This is the first prophecy about the birth of Jesus, spoken by God Himself. Then God cast them out of the Garden of Eden so that they would not eat from the tree of life, and while fallen in sin, gain eternal life. To guard the garden, God stationed angels with flaming swords. What can children and adults learn from this? Just as Adam and Eve had one heavenly Father, God, in the same way, you also have a mother and father who love you very much and set rules for your well-being. When you obey them, your life remains safe, happy, and peaceful. But when you do not obey them, things go wrong. Life becomes filled with insecurity, sorrow, and unrest. So always remember to obey your parents because their words come from love, just like God's. Hello, my dear brothers and sisters. When God banished Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden because they disobeyed Jehovah's command, they were left alone. After some time, they had two sons, Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam and Eve. When both of them grew up, they were called to offer sacrifices to their God. Cain, who worked as a farmer, brought a basket of grains and fruits. Abel, who was a shepherd, lovingly prepared a fat, healthy lamb. They built an altar to offer the sheep to God. Cain offered some of the grains and fruits from his field, while Abel, with devotion and love, offered the fattest and best lamb from his flock. Abel began to pray to Jehovah with great humility. Cain watches Abel praying like this from a distance. His face and his prayer are filled with hardness. Jealousy took root in Cain's heart. Instead of learning from Abel, he harbored envy in his heart, and that envy gradually turned into anger. God does not look only at outward actions, but at the truth in the heart. Abel gave with all his heart, but Cain did not. That is why God accepted Abel's offering, but not Cain's. After some time, Cain takes Abel away alone. In a moment of anger, Cain committed a terrible sin. He killed his own brother. Sin knocked at his door and he let it in. Yahweh is the one who sees everything. Cain, who is standing alone, is asked, "Where is your brother?" Cain replied, "How should I know? Am I my brother's keeper?" But God, who knows everything, demanded an answer from Cain. Because we are all responsible for our brothers and sisters. Because of Cain's grave sin, God punished and cursed him. But when he admitted his sin, Yahweh gave him a sign of protection and also an opportunity for repentance. The door of mercy was still open. This story teaches us the value of obedience and faith and to be wary of the power of envy and sin. And what is the greatest lesson? Worship with your heart, not for show. Rejoice in the success of others, do not be jealous. There are consequences to sin, but God is always ready to show mercy. You just need to open your heart. And we are all each other's keepers. Guard your heart, honor God, and love one another. The story of Cain and Abel is a lesson for every generation.
Hello?
Many years after the story of Cain, the world was changing. But there was one person named Noah. Noah was a good and honest man. He always did what was right. God was very pleased with his honesty and goodness. But not everyone was like Noah. Most people in the world had become wicked. They lied, fought, and did not take care of the earth. When God looked at the earth, he was very saddened. God thought, now this must change.
Then he said to Noah, Noah, build a large boat, which will be called an ark, and bring into it every kind of animal, one male and one female of each. I will bring a great flood upon the earth, which will cleanse everything. But this massive ark will keep you, your entire family, and all of these animals safe and secure. Noah did not question even once. He obeyed God's command and began to build the ark. This was not an easy task. It took many years, but Noah and his family worked hard, cutting wood, hammering nails, and following every instruction that God gave them. When the ark was finished, they gathered pairs of animals, lions, elephants, birds, and every living creature. Then one day, Noah, his family, and all the animals went into the ark. As soon as everyone was inside, God himself closed the huge door, and then the rain began to fall. 1 day, 2 days, 10 days, 20 days, rain kept pouring for 40 days and 40 nights. The water kept rising and the whole earth was submerged. But in the midst of that vast expanse of water, the ark kept floating slowly, keeping Noah and everyone safe. It was not easy to stay inside the ark. There was little space, animals all around, and outside there was nothing but water. But Noah and his family waited patiently. They took care of each other and the animals and kept their faith in God. Finally, after 40 days, the rain stopped. Noah sent out a dove to see if it could find dry land anywhere, but the dove returned empty-handed. 7 days later, Noah sent it out again. This time it returned, but in its beak was a fresh olive leaf. Now everyone knew that there must be land somewhere. Then one day God said, "Let the people come out now." Noah opened the door. Everyone came out, his family, all the animals, and they set foot on dry land. It was a day of joy and gratitude. Everyone together thanked God, and then God made a promise. "I will never again bring such a flood upon the whole earth." As a sign of this promise, he created a beautiful rainbow in the sky. And even today, when we see a rainbow after the rain, we are reminded of God's compassion and truth. From this event, we can learn this lesson. Whoever obeys God, God protects them. Noah's obedience not only saved him, but also his entire family and all the animals of the world. The truthfulness of one person can change the course of the whole world. Many years after Noah's flood, Noah's descendants began to spread across the earth, and their numbers started to increase. At that time, the whole earth spoke only one language and one dialect. As people moved eastward, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they decided to settle there. Then they said to each other, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly. Then we will build a city and a tower whose top reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth." Their goal was not just an ordinary construction. They wanted to make a name for themselves, to reach the heavens without God, and were disobeying Jehovah's command to spread out over the earth. They began to build the tower, which was growing taller day by day. From the ground, it appeared to be a marvelous man-made structure. But from heaven, Jehovah saw their arrogance. Then God said, "While they speak one language, if they have started this work, then nothing will be impossible for them now. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so that they will not understand one another." Suddenly, the people's language changed. They could not understand each other. Communication between the craftsmen and the leaders broke down, construction stopped, and the tower remained unfinished. That place was called Babel, because it was there that Jehovah confused the language of the whole earth. And from there, Jehovah scattered people to the ends of the earth, just as was his original plan. This story teaches us that human pride and the attempt to glorify oneself without God ultimately lead to destruction and confusion. When we obey God's commands and walk in humility, He gives us unity and purpose. It is written in the Psalms, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain." The Tower of Babel reminds us that God has no problem with our unity and creativity, but He wants us to honor Him, remain obedient, and walk in His ways.
This happened during the time of Noah. Many years after the flood, it happened among the descendants of Shem, Noah's son. Abram, also known as Abraham, lived in a great city called Ur. He lived a comfortable life, was wealthy, and was respected among the people because he followed God's ways. But one day, God said to him, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you." Although Abram did not know where he was going, he still obeyed the command. With his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot, he left everything behind and began a long journey toward an unknown land, which would later become Canaan and today's Israel. During this journey, he faced famine, dangers, and disappointment. But wherever he stopped, he built altars and worshipped God. Many years passed, Abram and Sarai grew old, but they had no children. God kept promising Abram again and again that he would give him many descendants. But as time went by, Sarai remained barren. Surrounded by doubt, Sarai came up with a plan. She told Abram to have a child with her Egyptian maidservant, Hagar. Out of love for his wife, Abram agreed, and after their marriage, Hagar became pregnant. But after Hagar became pregnant, tension in the household increased. Sarai treated Hagar harshly, and Hagar ran away into the wilderness. There, an angel of God found Hagar and gently said, "Return and submit to Sarai. You will have a son, and you shall name him Ishmael, because God has heard your suffering." Hagar obeyed, and Ishmael was born. Still, God made it clear that His promise would be fulfilled through Sarah's son, not through Hagar's son. One hot afternoon, while Abraham was sitting by his tent under the oaks of Mamre, he saw 3 mysterious men approaching him. He ran to welcome them and greeted his God and his 2 angels. While they were eating under the shade, the Lord said to Abram, "Next year at this time your wife Sarah will have a son." Hearing this from inside the tent, Sarah laughed, thinking, how could this be possible in her old age? But the Lord said, "Is anything too difficult for me?" And just as it was promised. A year later, Isaac was born, whose name means laughter. Although Abraham loved both his sons, God made it clear that Isaac was the child of promise, not the son born through Hagar. Eventually, following God's command, Abraham sent Hagar and Ishmael away, but God did not abandon them. He promised that Ishmael would also become a great nation and protected them in the wilderness. Now we lived for many more years. Although he did not see the fulfillment of God's promise with his own eyes, he died in faith, trusting the God who had brought him from Ur to Canaan. From this story, we learn that faith sometimes means walking on unknown paths. God's promises are not fulfilled immediately, but they are true. Even when we make mistakes, like in the matter of the house, God still shows mercy and works through us. Nothing is impossible for God. The story of Abraham teaches us that we should walk with faith, obedience, and trust. No matter how difficult the path may be, even if the promise is fulfilled late, we must remain in faith. When the Lord brought Abram from Ur to Canaan, his family settled there. He and his wife Sarai were very old, and they had no children. Yet Abraham believed in that voice, which called him to leave his country and walk an unknown path. Years passed. Abraham and Sarah grew even older, but still, there was no child between them. So because of Sarai's insistence, Abraham married Hagar, and Ishmael was born. At that time, Abraham was 86 years old. One evening, as the sun was setting behind the hills and the desert was silent, the Lord spoke to Abraham in a vision. The Lord said, "I am Almighty God. Walk before me and be blameless. I am making a covenant with you. You will be the ancestor of many nations." Abram fell down, overwhelmed by the presence of God. Then God said something wonderful. "Your name will no longer be Abram," which meant exalted father. Now, your name will be Abraham, which means father of many nations. Because I have made you the father of many nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful. Kings will come from your descendants, and I will establish an everlasting covenant between you and your offspring.
Even though Abraham had a child through Hagar, God's covenant was established between Abraham and Sarah's child. At that time, Abraham and Sarah had no children. But Abraham believed. Then God said, "Your wife Sarah will no longer be called Sarai. Her name will now be Sarah. I will bless her, and she will bear you a son. She will become the mother of nations." Abraham bowed down, and laughter rose in his heart. Can a 100-year-old man become a father? Can Sarah give birth to a child at the age of 90? However, God spoke once again, "Indeed, it shall be so, and you will name him Isaac." From that moment, Abram became Abraham, not just a man of faith, but a symbol of God's promise. His new name was not just an identity, it was a prophecy, a covenant, a divine identity that marked the beginning of a distinct and chosen people, and God's promise was fulfilled. A few months later, when the Lord appeared to Abram by the oak trees of Mamre, a year after that, when Abraham was 100 years old, Isaac was born. From Abraham came Isaac and Jacob, and generations through whom ultimately the whole earth was blessed. God had chosen Abraham to become a great nation. One day, while Abraham was resting by the trees of Mamre, 3 men came to him who were divine beings. One of them was the Lord himself, and the other 2 were angels. God then openly told Abraham that he was going to investigate the 2 cities called Sodom and Gomorrah, because the sinful condition there had become very serious, and the outcry of their oppression had reached me. Abraham, who knew that his nephew Lot lived in Sodom, pleaded with God and said, "Will you really destroy the righteous along with the wicked?" Abraham pleaded with God, saying, "If there are 50 righteous people there, or 45, 30, 20, or even just 10, will you still destroy the city?" And God replied, "If I find even 10 righteous people in Sodom, I will not destroy the city. That same evening, 2 angels arrived in Sodom where Lot was sitting at the city gate. Lot immediately recognized them, bowed respectfully to greet them, and requested that they not spend the night in a public place, but instead come to his house. At night, all the men of the city, both young and old, surrounded Lot's house and demanded that he send out his guests so that they could commit indecent acts with them. Lot tried to stop them and even offered his own daughters, but the crowd became even more aggressive. Then the angels pulled Lot inside, shut the door, and struck those men with blindness so that they could not find the way out. Then they revealed their divine purpose to Lot. "We have come to destroy this place. The outcry against the wickedness of this city's people has reached the Lord, and he has sent us to destroy it." The angels told Lot to gather his family and flee from the city. When Lot hesitated, the angels took hold of Lot, his wife, and his 2 daughters by the hand and led them out. They gave a clear command: "Run for your lives, do not look back, and do not stop anywhere in the plain." Lot pleaded with them to let him flee to a nearby small town, Zoar, instead of the mountains. God granted this request as well. As soon as Lot and his family reached a safe place, God rained down burning sulfur and fire from the sky, completely destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. The entire region, cities, fields, trees, and all living creatures was consumed